And Burnham, and I keep saying this, and I keep saying this over and over and over again, and everyone keeps doubting me, and I keep hearing the same arguments of people that frankly have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. I keep hearing over and over and over again, Burnham's not going to do anything. He's just the same as the rest of them. Shut the fuck up. You are retarded. Like, you are genuinely lobotomized. Something is wrong with you. How many times do I have to try and warn you that the difference between somebody like Burnham compared to somebody like Starmer is that Burnham purposely appeals to the North. He purposely talks about Northern issues because the North has always been where the generational Labour voters are. That is where your white working class generational voter Labour member exists. So what do you think happens when Burnham becomes Prime Minister and starts talking about investment in the North, helping families in the North, transport in the North, HS2? What do you think happens? Look at the reaction. Do you know why the Tories started getting crushed up in the North and why Reform started doing better? Because they were promising and promising and promising better transport, better infrastructure up north. They were promising to help the North. And then when it came to it, when it came to HS2, they just fucked up all the contracts, gave up on it, and then just said, we'll get you better bus systems. That was it. And the North repaid them by telling them to go fuck themselves. Even my area, which was a very conservative area, Altrincham and Sale West, right? Very conservative. Conservative stronghold in the south of Manchester. Been there my entire life, basically, right? I know what it's like. And the reason people turned against the Conservatives was not for reform. They turned to Labour. Because Labour were promising to help the North. Burnham was making a better impact. And the Tories betrayed the North. And I said this, I interviewed Sir Graham Brady when I was 16 years old. Not a lot of people know that. It's true. I've been doing politics for a long time, believe it or not. 23 now. I just remembered, yeah, fuck, this is the first time you've seen me since I'm 23. Anyway. But 7 years ago, fucking hell. But I said this to him. I was like, why does the North never get spoken about in Parliament? Why does no one ever show us appreciation? Oh, well, the money's down south. Oh, the business is down south. Because we're an economic zone, they only care about the south because that's where the money is. That's where the banks are. That's where your big foreign business is. That's where the investment is. They don't care about the North. It's all shitholes. There's no money up here. There's no investment. There's no infrastructure. There's no business opportunities. There's nothing. That's the difference. So because the politicians have always been focusing on the South and ignoring the North, the Northerners have rebelled against them. This is why the North is so fluctuating in regards to how it votes. This is true. The South is still quite stable in how it votes. Even the Tory voters that don't want to vote Tory anymore just go to the Lib Dems because they're all posh cunts. Sorry to the Southerners, but that's also true. But the Northerners, they go from Conservative to Labour to Reform. They jump around depending on who's willing to help us. That's always the truth. Think about how many Labour voters, you hear this all the time. They said, I've been a Labour voter all my life, but I'm going to Reform now. I've seen so many examples of that. That's where a lot of the new Reform voters are coming from. They're all Northern. What do you think happens when Burnham gets in? What do you think happens when Burnham finally, as a Prime Minister, turns an eye to the North, talks about investment, talks about transport, talks about giving the North business, talks about allowing us to actually have a functioning economy up here? Where do you think those old generational voters go back to? Because if he wins this by-election, you don't need a general election. He will still have a following of over 300 Labour MPs. He has a mass majority. You don't need a general election. He just needs to win the by-election. He wins the by-election, and I told you, look what's not happened. Look what was happening a month ago. They were talking about leadership elections. It was basically on the table. Wes Streeting was basically saying it's going to happen. And I told you, I quite literally told you, they will hold it off until after the by-election, because if Burnham wins, then they will trigger it. And what have they done? They've held it off. Why? Because of the by-election. To see if Burnham wins. And if Burnham wins, then it's back on the table. Then you get the rebellions again. Then the leadership contest will be triggered. Then Burnham will win the contest with the Labour members. And then what do you see? Then he has until 2029, with a large majority, to start putting forward policy without any form of mandate from the public, because there will be no general election under Burnham, to start putting forward policy to help the North. You're telling me that by the next general election, if he comes out with policies for investment up in the North and actually helping the North, you're telling me those old generational voters that have looked at reform because they feel betrayed by Labour, you're telling me they're not going to consider changing back? Watch the local elections next year. If Burnham becomes Prime Minister, I guarantee you they start to do a bit better. I absolutely guarantee you. Because he doesn't need anything. He doesn't need a general election. He doesn't need your permission. He already has it. Because he will win the by-election. That's it. This one contest will change the course of where our politics go for the next general election. I guarantee it.